welcome back to the Cabbage Patch. I'm Dad.
I'm Tommy.
And I'm Gus.
And today we're doing something very special. We're starting we're going to play a couple of games in the next two or three sessions around that are quote-unquote educational. So today we played On the Origin of Species. On the Origin of Species is a book by a guy named Charles Darwin.
Which
he wrote in the
famous.
It's very famous. He wrote it in the 1800s. And it was all his observations on nature from his travels in the Galapagos Islands and other places. And he came up with the theory of natural selection, which is the precursor to the theory of evolution, which is how organisms change over time. But most of his study was looking in the Galapagos Islands at a bunch of birds and things and seeing how they all looked really similar. And he wondered, how can all these birds look really similar yet be different? So it was all about diversity in the species and things like that. So there's a bunch of cool biology here. This game recreates the voyage of the HMS Beagle, which is the ship that he sailed on, as it navigates the Galapagos Islands. And our goal during the game is to discover species and how they are interconnected. So this is a game for, 1 to 4 players, I think? 2 to 4 players, rather, not 1 to 4. For ages 9 and above. The mechanics are pretty simple. On your turn, you can do 2 different things. You can place your resource cubes, and you place resource cubes on tiles that have been placed on the map, and that starts off with 3 starter tiles. But you place them on tiles that are placed on the map to get resources from those tiles. So if you look at these cards, they each have a critter on it. So this has got a big, I don't know what the colloquial name for that bird is, but it's a bird with a great big red
doodad.
Bib. And it gives you 2 leaves and 1 feather. And other things give you just 1 feather, so the starter tiles give you 1 of each of the 3 different resources, which are leaves,
And the jellyfish.
leaves, feathers, and jellyfish, right? That's the crab. That's a really cool one. We'll talk about that in a second. Leaves, feathers, and jellyfish. And the idea is you buy species from the market, which is what amounts to the market over here. I'll put this there so it's full. And you place them between or near the species from which those resource cubes have come from. And they're actually called observation cubes. So the idea here is that your scientists from the Beagle are off looking at things, and they've realized that this crab, where do you go? This crab really liked to be around water, around birds, around the forest, and in this particular case, one resource of any color. So he is connected to all of the habitats that are here on the island.
This crab just kind of generally likes to be everywhere.
The crab likes to be anywhere on the island because it was on island, so that's kind of cool. So it's a little bit of resource management. And the way that the game progresses is you start off over here in South America, and then there's these date markers on the board that represent dates in Darwin's journals of his stops, of the stops of the Beagle. And as you do things, you buy creatures from the market, you place them on the board in their appropriate place, and then there are victory points that are tracked on this thing around the board, right? There are other actions, draw some cards, and the cards get you more victory points as well, or they get you special, powerful abilities that let you change how the game is played, right? Right? And then it tells you to move the boat. So every time you basically you claim a creature, you get some cards to change some things, and then you move the boat along the way. And along the way, there are some objectives that are laid out here on the bottom of the board. And in the basic game, all the objectives are our victory points. So whoever makes it to the first marker gets 1 victory point. Whoever makes it to the second marker gets 2. And whoever makes it to the third marker, whoever moves the ship on their turn to the marker gets those victory points. And that's how you get more victory points. More advanced versions of the game have other conditions here that you guys can look up online. So you're moving the ship around through the various things, and there's arrows here to tell you where to go next. And then the game ends when the beagle ends up in New Zealand.
And you know who won?
We haven't gotten there yet, right? And then there, at the end of the game, there's some additional victory point conditions here. And this particular one is whoever had the most books got 6 extra victory points. Whoever had the second most books got 3. Whoever had the third most books get 1. So as you play the game, you collect these cards, and the cards are beautiful. And these are what the book cards look like. And the colors are only significant in other versions of the game when we get into the more advanced things. But otherwise, it's collect resources, buy creatures, these beautiful, beautiful creatures. So Gus is really fond of the crab, which I'm not sure you can see in the lighting here, how beautiful these are.
If we put it close up, I'm sure they can see it.
You can try to put it up close up. Let's see what it looks like.
I kind of see it.
Okay, let's do this to try to get it focused. Stop. There you go. That's pretty good. Alright. Well, it's pretty close. So the art's beautiful. This reminds me a lot of a game called Wingspan, which we'll play next. That it's about nature.
We'll play Wingspan or something else next.
Or something else. Wingspan was what we were playing again next. So it reminds me a lot of that because of the art and because of the you're trying to draw connections between different species, which I think is pretty cool. The mechanics are really simple. Place cubes. Once you have enough cubes, buy creatures. Put creatures on the board. And you have to put creatures on the board in specific places. They have to be adjacent to where the resources have come from. So you got to think through what your next steps are. That's it. Those are the rules of the game. It's really simple. It took about 45 minutes once we got things going.
I find it pretty cool how Gus started out as last and then ended up as first.
Yeah, so Gus won. Oh, and that's the other thing is your score markers are these little
turtle figures.
Galapagos tortoise
and apparently South America's in the
meeples. No, that's where he started. He started out from South America, and then he sailed through the Pacific to the Galapagos Islands, and then he sailed to New Zealand. So he started out somewhere, but then he sailed the ocean and got to the Galapagos Islands.
The only thing I see is a bunch of words on it because it's upside down for me.
It is upside down for you. The map is beautiful. The card art is beautiful. There are these crew cards that let you do things as you go through the game. There are resource cards that you can draw to give you free resources so that you may not be constrained. Tommy found the rowboat very useful, which let him put the bought creature anywhere he wanted and source the cubes from anywhere he wanted. So that was pretty cool, and I really enjoyed it. So what did you like about the game, though? What didn't you like about the game?
Let's see. Well, for one, other people can steal your...
Yeah, it is competitive. So we're playing against each other, even though we're all moving the beagle. So you can steal the spot that Gus was planning on taking.
It's like, I guess, a little fun challenge for them.
Yeah.
If they get bored.
Yeah. You can steal a spot that everyone else was planning on taking. As you get into the deeper advanced game, these things change, and you can sort of really screw up other players by stealing their victory conditions. So that is a thing that is indeed, I think, probably less cool. It would be interesting to find a more cooperative version of this, but I'm not sure how that would work. How about you, Tommy? What didn't you like?
The fact that at least that's what I think it is. It's probably not.
It's a lot like it.
I don't like the fact that everything's named in Spanish.
It's not, it's Latin. So these are the Latin names of the creatures. So they're the scientific names of the creatures. So that's interesting. So you didn't like the educational part of it. That's great. Well, but what did you like, Gus? What did you like? What was fun about this?
Grapsus.
Grapsus is the name of, what is it? The crab.
Sus.
Grapsus, sus. Anyway, what did you like?
The art.
The art is awesome. How about you?
The art style is my favorite. Yeah, the art's pretty good.
The art's pretty good.
I think what they do for the people is they take pictures of the people.
Yeah, they do take these look like old timey pictures, right? The art is awesome. That's probably my favorite part of it too. I really liked how simple it was to play. How about rules that we didn't do right? Is there a rule that we needed to remember as we were
At the
done?
beginning of the game, we forgot to move these.
At the beginning of the game, we forgot to advance our victory points. Tommy was right on top of that. I think a rule that you sometimes forgot is you had these cards that would do things, and they just sat in front of you, and you needed to use them. So these two things gave you free resources that you could have used to buy a creature. How about you, Thomas? Was there a rule that you I think the rule. I know what it was. You have to place your tile next to where the resources are coming from.
Yeah.
That was a rule we kept forgetting, right?
Yeah.
Or you kept forgetting. Sometimes Gus did too. So yeah. But other than that, keep track of it. It's a really simple game. I really liked it. It's beautiful and it's really easy to play, and it doesn't take very long once you get into it. Okay, so I guess it's time to give it a score. How about you, Gus?
Probably 2.
2?
The usual.
2?
Yeah.
How about you, Thomas?
3.
Really?
Yeah, it's very
3?
good. It's very, very good.
3 means you probably might want to play it again. Is that likely?
Maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future. I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. I'm gonna give it a 3 because I like the subject matter. I think it's cool. I think they've done a really good job of showing you the Galapagos
Also,
Islands.
It's historical and educational.
And educational, yes, with the quotes. I think it is indeed a little educational. I think they did a really good job with the mechanics of showing how the species might be interconnected. So that's more educational, as Gus says, educational.
Educational.
So I'm gonna give it a 3 because I enjoyed playing it a great deal, and I will want to play it again with somebody. Whether or not it's with you guys is another question. So that's it. So it's a 2 plus a 3. You stuck with a 3? All right. So that's 8. That's still pretty good. We give a lot of high marks here, don't we?
Yeah, we like a lot of board games.
Well, we do like a lot of board games. So that's 8 cabbages, and that's it. Anything else to add before we do the outro?
Let's see.
I think the components were really, really nice. There's a little wooden ship for the beagle. The cubes are generic cubes. Little anchors for the objectives, and the turtles. Like I said, the turtles are awfully cool. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Okay. All
shall
right,
we do
so
the outro?
I think we are about ready to do the outro. One more thing about these tiles. They're in the shape of illustration cards from a book. So there's a binder down one side. So if you look at it, it looks like you're reading a book, which I thought was pretty cool too. So everything about this, there's all sorts of little details on it. Even the back of the board, which I can't show you right now, is beautiful. It's a mural of what's on the box. So the box art from the box is awesome. The art on the cards is great. The meeples and the playing pieces are all really well done.
The turtles are cool.
The turtles are cool.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. So
Especially the brown one looks like a turtle.
the brown one does look like a turtle. The green one, well, it's sort of brown. All right. Well, I guess that we could do the outro,
that
Gus.
was literally a turtle.
That is literally a turtle. You do the outro?
White turtle, white and purple.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the outro. Subscribe, like, hit that bell, Tommy.
Leave comments if you wish.
Eat plenty of cabbages. Not us, though.
Because you'll have to sail a bit further to discover for us.
Ah, yes. We don't live in Galapagos Islands. And that's it. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Have a turtle-filled day.